I'm Aaron Rutten, and in this tutorial, I'll teach you some techniques for inking digitally using a drawing tablet and your art software of choice. Let's get started. First, you'll need a drawing tablet that is adequate for inking. While you can ink using just about any drawing tablet size and style, what matters the most is that it supports pen pressure. If it does not, your line work will look very amateurish without any variation in width. If your tablet does not support pen pressure, or you're using a mouse or touch, I will show you a workaround for varying your line width near the end of this video. You can ink using a drawing tablet without a display, but it's going to feel so much more intuitive and the results will be much better if you draw onto a display. I find it difficult to draw accurately on a tablet without a display because you cannot see the line and your pen tip at the same time. It just takes more hand-eye coordination than it needs to. If possible, I would highly recommend investing in a display tablet. Just be sure it's a quality brand like Wacom, or else you might end up with a pen that only makes jittery lines or other defects that make it difficult to ink accurately. Another consideration is whether or not your tablet can support multi-touch. If it can, then you can conveniently rotate your digital canvas like you would a piece of paper on a desk. Rotating the canvas makes it much easier to ink at angles that are more comfortable. You can rotate the page using keyboard shortcuts and many digital art applications, but it's faster to use multi-touch and does not interrupt your flow as much. Now that you have an idea of what sort of tablet you'll need, let's see what software works best for inking. Most art applications contain brushes and features for inking. In fact, all you really need to ink is a basic hard edge brush that responds to pen pressure. To give you an example, here is a basic inking brush in Photoshop. But you can see that same type of brush can be found in Krita, which is free. In addition to making sure your brush has a hard edge, it must always be 100% opaque, otherwise your lines will be inconsistent in darkness. If that's the effect you want, that's okay, but in this tutorial, we're going for a solid line. Your application may have ink brush presets as well. Feel free to use these if they work well for you. Some art applications may support anti-aliasing of the brush edges. This makes the edges of brushes smoother, which reduces the jaggedness you might see in brushes that are too sharp. It looks cleaner and a lot more professional to anti-alias your line work, so I would find an application that supports that feature. Here in Corel Painter, you can see that I can easily customize the edge of the brush to get it just right. The only downside to anti-aliasing is that it may make the edge of the line work so soft that it may be difficult to use coloring tools like the paint bucket, which can fill closer to the line if it is very sharp. Although, you shouldn't be coloring with the paint bucket anyway. Next, I will want to calibrate my pen pressure so that I can accurately fade my lines from thin to thick using pen pressure. So that I have something to ink, I'll repurpose this real-life example of a sketch I made for a painting. By default, your pressure may be too light or too heavy for how firmly you actually press while inking. I tend to press firmly, so I set mine a notch toward firm in the Wacom tablet properties. This is a global setting, and you can choose to have it apply to all applications or just a specific one. Some applications like Corel Painter may even allow you to calibrate individual brushes. That would be on top of any global calibration setting you applied in the Wacom tablet properties. Once you're able to taper your lines smoothly and get a range of line widths, then you will be ready to ink. If you're new to inking, it will take some practice to refine the tapering technique. Inking your own sketches like this is a good way to get practice. Now that we are set up with some inking software, let's explore the fundamentals of inking digitally. Most importantly, you should be using a canvas that is large enough and has enough resolution to support smooth lines. If the canvas is too small, your line work will look jagged no matter how smooth you make your strokes. I have a video about jagged lines if you're having trouble with that. A common resolution for line art is 300 pixels per inch. And you can choose a standard paper or canvas size like 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 14 inches. It's better to start inking too large rather than too small. If your sketch is low resolution, you can enlarge it since you are redrawing it anyway, but do not enlarge your ink lines after drawing them or they will get blurry. The downsides to using a large canvas are that the file size will be larger and it may make your digital art software perform more slowly. If that becomes an issue, you will have to settle for a smaller canvas or try inking in vector, which we will look at later in this tutorial. The next fundamental is to work on layers. Unlike traditional art that once inked over is permanent, you can work on the pencil, ink, and color separately from each other using layers. It is possible not to use layers while inking, but why would you when there are so many advantages? For instance, by keeping your lines separate from your color, you need not worry about ruining the line art if you make a mistake while coloring. Just as well, you can easily change applied colors at any time as long as they are not combined with the line art. But most importantly, if you're inking over a sketch, you will want to delete the sketch when you no longer need it. This is almost impossible to do if you inked directly onto the sketch layer. There are many more advantages to working with layers, but I cover those in other videos. The basic idea here is to always keep your lines on a separate layer above your color. Naming your layers will help you more easily keep track of them. If necessary, you can even dim the opacity of your sketch layer to make it easier to see both the sketch and the ink lines. If your sketch is too dim, you can duplicate the sketch layer and set it to the multiply blend mode to darken it and make it more opaque. Then select all of the sketch layers and merge them together. You might also find it easier to see the sketch if you make it a brighter color like blue. As you can see, I'm using a light gray background. This is not a necessary step, I just use it because a white canvas makes it difficult to see the sketch when I record it on my camera. If you're concerned about accidentally inking on the wrong layer, you can lock the other layers. As far as the color you use for inking, typically this is 100% black, but it doesn't have to be. This technique is called color holds, but that's just a fancy term for using a color other than black to ink. You'll see this a lot in cartoons where the hair is outlined one color and the face another. This gives the line work a more vibrant appearance and makes it part of the object rather than just a container that holds color. If you took my advice and inked on a separate layer, you can easily change the ink to any other color you like. You can lock the transparency of the ink layer if your application supports it, and then fill it with a different color. It's probably best to separate lines that are different colors onto their own layers, but you could also use a brush to paint over the lines that are on a single layer to make them multicolored. Another way to experiment with different color ideas is to apply a filter like hue saturation value and shift the color around. If you're working with plain black lines, be sure you are always picking the same black color. Using a preset swatch helps with this. After coloring your line art, there may be instances where you want to place non-black colors over your lines. Let's say I want to add a highlight over the pupils of a character. In that case, create a new layer above the ink and add the white there so it does not interfere with the line work. You may also want to create the effect of light spilling over a subject, or perhaps reflecting off of something. Again, place this on a separate layer above the ink. Setting the layer to a screen blend mode will help it blend more naturally with the underlying layers. Going back to the topic of consistency, you will want to use consistent line widths when inking. If each page of a comic were drawn with a different line width, it wouldn't look right. Same goes for the objects in a single page drawing. Depending on the style you are going for, it might be acceptable to have a lot of variation in the line width, or just a little. It is also possible to draw in a style where there is no variation in the line width, but usually there is at least some. You might have a bolder line to outline the subjects in the drawing, and then a thinner line to use for hatching or other fine details. Avoid making the lines too thin, or else it will be difficult to keep your color inside the lines later. And making them too thick will make it harder to capture all the detail in your sketch. My advice is to make brush size presets for each line width, and then you can rest assured that your lines will look consistent. Just keep in mind that your pen pressure may affect the width of the lines, so ensure that you're pressing firmly enough to produce the full range of size. That doesn't mean you cannot taper the lines, you can. Just be sure that the bulk of the line is at its maximum width. If your line width is hard to control, go back to the section where I talk about calibrating and make some adjustments to your pen pressure. Now let's cover how to correct mistakes. Traditional inkers have to use whiteout to fix mistakes, and if they smudge their page, it's game over. Fortunately, you're inking digitally, so you are immune to a lot of those troubles. If your entire progress is a mistake and you want to clear an entire layer, you can often press backspace or delete. If you only want to fix your most recent mistakes, you can use undos to undo the last several strokes up to your undo limit. The way to use undo is to draw a line, and if it isn't right, undo it and draw it again. However, if you're happy with most of the line and just want to fix a small part of it, there are more efficient methods than undoing. The eraser tool can be great for cleaning up sections of your lines, but I wouldn't use it in place of undo or clear because that would eat up a lot of time. Remember that you're working digitally, so you'll need to abandon a lot of those traditional artist habits. Just be sure that your eraser has a hard edge and is always at 100% opacity. Disable opacity if it is linked to pressure. You may also find that using a distortion tool works well to simply reshape your lines, though it would be best to do this type of adjustment to your sketch before inking. The downside to erasing and distorting is that it may compromise the edge quality and opacity of your line work, so use these sparingly. Undo is really the most reliable method if you want your line work to be as clean as possible. At this point, I've covered the setup required to ink, but I haven't said much about inking techniques. It all comes down to gestures. The tapering we looked at earlier is very important, as is having a steady enough of a stroke to draw clean lines. Drawing gestures are sort of its own separate subject that I cover in another video, so I will link you to that. While the overall goal here is to trace over your sketch with ink, you don't have to follow your sketch exactly. If you feel like the drawing would benefit from slightly deviating from the sketch, do it. In many cases, a sketch is more of a loose drawing, and the inking stage is where it is refined into something that looks more polished. There are two basic ways to ink. You can try very hard to draw single lines that are very smooth and even, or you can be sloppier using segmented lines for a look that is more raw. If you have a lot of trouble controlling your line work, you may want to start with the latter until you develop the coordination to draw more accurately. If you're using a tablet without a display, it will be very challenging to align your ink strokes with the sketch lines. So don't feel bad. Most artists are going to struggle with that, which is why I highly recommend a display tablet. Don't forget, you can rotate your canvas and zoom in and out if that makes it more comfortable to ink over your sketch. One very important consideration is how you're going to color your line art. If you will be hand coloring it, leaving some gaps in your lines would be acceptable if that's the style you're going for. However, if you plan to use any sort of fill tool that will be detecting the lines, it's best not to leave any gaps or the fill may spill outside of the lines. In addition to inking your sketch, you may want to add a sense of form and shading using hatching, cross-hatching, stippling, scribbling, and other types of effects. You can even utilize negative inking, where you use a hard edge eraser to subtract from the ink. If inking freehand is proving to be too frustrating for you, all hope is not lost. Next, I'll demonstrate some optional tools that can assist you in drawing smoother, straighter, and more consistent lines. Even if you have excellent control over your lines, these tools can be time-saving, allowing you to get more inking done. First, stabilization, or smoothing as it's known in some applications. Stabilization mimics the effect of friction on your pen. A drawing tablet surface and pen tip can feel very slippery depending on the model you're using. Without this natural friction, inking will feel very odd. You may be more prone to wobbly lines and mistakes without it. Therefore, at least a small amount of stabilization is recommended if you want line work that is smooth. Because stabilization is a more complex subject than I can cover in this video, I'll refer you to yet another video that will elaborate more on that. The main downside to using stabilization is that it slows down your stroke, making it less responsive. If you're trying to ink too quickly, you'll find the stroke will not be very accurate. For this reason, you may want two separate brush variants for inking, one with stabilization and one without. This way you have one brush for drawing smooth lines, and the other brush can be used for hatching or line work that is looser. Some art applications even offer advanced stabilization modes like pulled string, which make it possible to draw fairly accurately using only a mouse or touch. Sure, it takes a lot more patience, but you'd be amazed at what you can accomplish. The only thing missing for mouse users would be the tapering of the lines, but there is a workaround for that too, which I'll mention shortly. In addition to freeform lines, you may also need to ink a lot of straight lines. While you could use a traditional ruler to help you draw straight lines, there are many tools that work a lot better and won't scratch your tablet. Many art applications have a straight line mode. Sometimes this is a separate tool, a mode for the brush tool, or a keyboard shortcut that has to be held down. For example, many applications utilize Shift to make the brush tool draw in straight lines. The angles are limited to horizontal, vertical, and diagonal, but the more advanced straight line modes may have fewer limitations. For example, in Corel Painter, I'll enable the straight line mode, and that will let me click to make a start point, then drag to preview the line, and release to complete the line. It is entirely possible to draw straight lines freehand, but you'll need a large tablet so that you're able to make broad gestures. Adding a high stabilization value can help to straighten freehand strokes too. Many art applications also offer drawing assistance for ellipses, polygons, perspective, symmetry, and more. I won't demonstrate them all because they tend to have proprietary features that are not universal, but I will highlight a few types of drawing assistance that are very useful. If your sketch is already in perspective, the perspective assistant modes can be very valuable for inking backgrounds because you can automatically lock your strokes into perspective so you don't have to waste time on rulers or straight line modes. Drawing ellipses in perspective can be particularly challenging, but if you can use a drawing assistant, it's no work at all. You can always estimate the perspective in your sketch and then perfect it later while inking using a guide. Freehand drawing ellipses is much like drawing straight lines. It's all in the gesture, and you need adequate space to move your arm across the tablet. These are probably the most difficult shapes to ink smoothly freehand. Don't be afraid to use your undos, but also avoid obsessing too much over perfection. There's a certain charm in asymmetrical ellipses compared to those drawn with a shape tool. Although, depending on the art, it could make more sense to avoid freehand inking difficult shapes and instead just use a shape tool. Breaking ellipses and curves into segmented lines can also help to make them easier to ink. Rotating the page really helps too. The symmetry mode can be very time-saving for objects that are fully or even partially symmetrical. It can be difficult to draw both sides of an object consistently because the angles change. In order to help with drawing symmetrically freehand, you can flip your canvas horizontally to make the angles easier to draw. The final optional inking tool I will mention is Vector. Vector art requires its own separate video to fully explain, but to summarize, vector art is not made of pixels, so images created with it can be enlarged to any size without losing quality. Vector lines and shapes can also be freely edited at any time, so if you do your inking in Vector, you'll have the advantage of being able to simply adjust the shape of the lines if they're not perfect. There are even specialized tools for drawing curves, straight lines, and shapes. If you're having to ink a lot of shapes like this, it may just be easier to do it in Vector. If you prefer the aesthetic of freehand inking with your drawing tablet, many vector art applications offer a pressure-sensitive brush tool. If you're using a mouse, you may be able to use your vector application to automatically taper the lines or manually taper them after the fact. So you really can ink without a drawing tablet, it just might require more patience. The disadvantage to working in Vector is that the images can often be less detailed than raster art because you're limited to fairly simple designs. For example, you don't find blenders in Vector applications because it would be impractical to try to edit such a complex stroke, let alone define the mixtures of color. But that disadvantage mostly applies to drawing and painting, not inking. As far as inking goes, Vector is superior in terms of resolution and editability. I can't see much of a reason not to ink in Vector aside from the aesthetic of creating your work freehand. Ultimately, if you're printing your line work, then anything that was Vector will be rasterized anyways. So there really is no right or wrong format for inking. You can even combine the best of both worlds and sketch in raster, ink in Vector, and then color in raster. You can do this either by working in an application that offers both raster and vector tools like Clip Studio Paint, Corel Painter, or Adobe Fresco, or you can save as a cross-compatible layered format like PSD and work between several applications. So as you can tell, there are many choices for how to ink your line art. It all comes down to preference and the tools available to you. I often prefer the experience of freehand inking. It's just more enjoyable to me than plotting points using vector tools. But some projects are just easier or faster to ink in Vector, so I choose the best tool for the job. That's all for this video. If you'd like to learn about coloring your line art next, I have a great tutorial about that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.